Oh, wait, thank you so much, Tyler. Thank you. I was just saying, I've got a petition. This is a petition to speak to Autism Speaks. Yeah, look at this. And so it's a name and email and basically like a comment, please do this or whatever. But anyway, I would appreciate it if you would sign the petition, because I want to get 1,000 signatures to send to Autism Speaks, which is a pretty high number to go for just a grassroots nothing. But the point is that I'm an autistic person and I'm having to resort to getting a I'm having to resort to a petition, essentially. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, so thank you so much for that. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what the heck? I figured after pleading for over a month that might as well, whatever. We'll just go old school and do a petition. I mean, that's gotta be embarrassing when an organization called Autism Speaks has to, somebody has to sign a petition to get them to actually speak. So I'm going to take a look at the news here and see what we got going on here. I did not even look. Oh, okay, good. All right. Autumn Speaks has mastered the skill of deceit. Autumn Speaks uses inclusive language while applying exclusive tactics. It deceives and lies. It never apologizes. All of that I would completely agree with. Is Autism Speaks a hate group? By Amy Sequencia. 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 So I don't know where she is from or whatever, but looks like a Hispanic name. Um, I know they're hateful. I know they don't like autistics. Dang, that's how she starts out. I know they use most of their resources to convince the world would be a better place without us, actually using the money to fund research that would make our extinction possible. And that's exactly what they still are doing. Now, they say they've taken, we want to cure we want to cure autism out of the mission statement, but that doesn't mean that they still don't believe it, and that's not fundamentally the principle upon which they're operating. That doesn't have to have changed just because they changed the mission statement. Many autistics believe Autism Speaks is a hate group. Okay, the Amy agrees. She says she is joining them. I've thought that for quite a while myself. I made victimization my whole identity. Oh man, you know what? I kind of, in some ways, when I look back, because I was what 49 when no 50 when I figured it out, and about 3 months later when I turned 51 is when I got diagnosed. But when I look back on my life, I realized that I was abused just for being an autistic person. I was abused all my life. I lost really good jobs and stuff just because I was autistic. Um, had I known, I could have probably made the arguments about being autistic, or whatever, and kept my job. But that's not the case, and after 10, 15 years, it doesn't matter anymore. They're not gonna. Nobody's gonna feel sorry for you anymore. It doesn't matter the fact that you didn't get to retire. All right. The Southern Poverty Law Center's definition of a hate group includes those having beliefs or practices that attack, malign an entire class of people. Typically, there are immutable characteristics, and that's exactly what that I Am Autism has done. That's what Autism Speaks it has done. Has attacked or has definitely attacked autistic people as being worse than cancer, childhood diabetes, and leukemia combined. As is the way they kind of characterized autism. So yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much, Tyler, for those kind words. And boy, I would love to say that word. It's like FG. It's like alphabet, 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 alphabet. But that's a great name. I'll just call you Prince for short, right? The person who has no real name. I think Prince did have a name, though. He changed it back to Prince, I think, later. Hate group promotes malice against disabled people. The members of the group don't share the disability. That is true. There's only one person that I know of at Autism Speaks that is autistic. And then there's one board member. But board members are board members, not necessarily employees. Autism Speaks reaches out to families by listing the deficits. Yes. The difficulty is in pain the child will experience forever. Yes, exactly. Autism Speaks makes videos that paints autism. Okay, so we know it's a hate group. And I'm not going to read everything that she has to say here. All right, well, yeah, no doubt about it. This is all. I was just hoping to see some kind of new information there. We got to all give it a chance.
It's Autism Awareness Month. It's Autism Awareness Month. This is the month where I ask you to not only be aware of me, but also be aware of people who are also autistic, like me, and aware of the fact that Autism Speaks is a hate organization.
PMDD.
Yeah,
simply put, research suggests that
I liked that one. That was good to go. It's to the point.
PMDD and autism. Well, simply put, research suggests that PMDD is more common in autistic women. It's thought that only 3% of non-autistic women experience PMDD, but it's suggested that at least 21% and up to 92% of autistic women experience PMDD. 92%. And for those autistic women who also have ADHD, or maybe you have ADHD but you're not autistic, did you know that 46% of those women with ADHD experience PMDD? So not 3%, 46%. Up to 92% for autistic women and 46% for women with ADHD. This is a significant, disproportionate amount of neurodivergent women experiencing PMDD.
Okay, now I've got to look up what PMDD is. I'm guessing it's the same thing as premenstrual syndrome. Premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So that's have PMS symptoms in the weeks before their period, but PMD also causes severe anxiety, depression, mood swings. Some people with PMDD become suicidal, hormonal, birth control. Oh, I've known so many autistic women. Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yeah. 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 Autistic women can be kind of scary, and I'm not picking on people here, and I am not being misogynistic or sexist. I'm being a father and a husband and a child or whatever. There's with autistic women, sometimes those hormone things are, I don't even know. It's different. It's just different, and I think a lot harder on autistic women than it can be on holistic women. And I also think things like your endometriosis and all those other types of female issues are a lot harder for autistic women, much harder. But that's just me, and I'm not only talking about mentally, but physically. I think that emotionally, I think it's like 10 times more intense for autistic women. Just saying, I think that's something that needs to be looked into. If there is something that can help women get through those periods, so to speak, through those times. And I'm not saying, well, just take some Midol. No, I'm really serious here. This is some serious stuff that really should be addressed and taken care of. And it's not women just whining, complaining. This is real medical stuff going on that needs to be addressed. I hope I've not really my bandwagon to be on in the first place, but come on.
What
Okay.
is the connection
I'm going to listen to
between
what he has to say again.
PMDD and autism? Well, simply put, research suggests that PMDD is more common in autistic women. It's thought that only 3% of non-autistic women experience PMDD, but it's suggested that at least 21% and up to 92% of autistic women experience PMDD.
I would 1000% agree with that. I think it's very, very important. Like I said, out of all the things to research, that's one of the more, that and alexithymia are one of the, probably the two most important things to, yeah, you know what? That's real common, Tyler. Like my daughter, I think a lot of, also a lot of female autistics as opposed to male autistics tend to go more bipolar for whatever reason, or maybe there it's just noticed more in girls. I don't know, or maybe they present more in that way. Um, but I've noticed that for sure, as opposed to boys. But they, there's slightly different presentations. You know what? I just got to thinking about it right before I came on, right as I'm trying to get everything going. And thank you again for the mic thing. It dawned on me that my sister is probably autistic. I never had even thought about it, but I bet you money she is through routine queen. Oh my goodness, everything has to be exactly, and it's not. It's I'm talking like she is PDA, like out there like autistic as far as having to have that routine and the same thing, like a pain in the butt to be around, like Sheldon kind of way. I love her dearly, don't get me wrong. I have my own pain in the butt things that are probably 10 times worse than hers. I'm just saying that she is very profoundly and noticeably routine oriented. Um, okay, so you have like a stepsisters or half sisters with different moms, or a different mom, and they're still the same. Are they okay? And my own mom, who is different from my sister's dad. I mean, her mom. Oh, okay, from your grandma. Okay, I got you. Yeah, and it can go. I mean, I don't know, it quote skips generations or whatever, but I'm just now, my dad was not autistic though. That's the thing. My dad was definitely not autistic. However, if you think about it, if my mom was autistic and my sister's mom was autistic, that would be pretty. That would just mean that my dad was attracted to autistic women, and he liked smart women, so intelligent women. So him being attracted to a very rational, cognitive, like thinking lady, and marrying two would not be a big surprise to me. Does that make sense to me, you, Tyler? That like maybe my dad wasn't autistic at all, but my mom. Oh, right, right. But my mom was definitely autistic. So now I'm wondering if my sister's mom, my half sister, if her mother wasn't autistic too. Which, once again, like I said, if my dad maybe had, this is going to sound weird, but like a thing for autistic girls, like a thing for how our brains work, you know what I mean? Um, so I'm wondering if that's not the case. That's really crazy. I'm going to have to ask my sister now. I wonder the next time when I talk to her, it might be a while. She's in France. But I can catch her on Facebook sometimes. Yeah, you're 21. Yeah, my son was 22. My daughter is 24, I think. Or she's 23. Almost 24. All right.
It's love at first bite with Haagen-Dazs.
Haagen-Dazs.
white chocolate raspberry bar. That's Daz.
What the?
My original dream was to be a fighter pilot. People here love planes. It's making the stuff.
Torrey Ridgway is in his third year at Embry-Riddle, a top civilian aeronautical university and flight school.
It's gonna be a little warm though.
He is studying aerospace engineering, and he's neurodivergent, meaning that the way he experiences and interacts with the world is different from a lot of other people.
It's kind of a strange thing to describe how I see the world, because to me, the world makes
normal.
perfect sense.
Torrey, along with these men, have three things in common.
Like, how do you experience the world? How the hell should I know? Like, that's so subjective. How do I experience the world? Well, I don't know, because I don't know how you experience the world. So I don't know how my experience is different, except to say that I have increased sensitivities, you know, as an autistic person. One of my friends just turned 22. Yeah, that's kind of funny, Tyler. Now both of us are going to be wondering, right? Both of us are going to be wondering, is my sister's mom autistic too? I haven't met my sister's mom. I don't know. But, oh boy, it wouldn't surprise me at all, because I'm thinking my sister, now I think about it, I would not be surprised if she's autistic. Like, she's mental. I love her. She is mental about things. Oh my goodness. Here I am, an autistic person, talking about my sister, going, yeah, man, she's really mental. I'm terrible. I'm going to hell. Love you, sis.
A call to duty, fierce patriotism, and a diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder, which they say has made finding their place in the American Armed Forces an arduous process.
It really is frustrating when we hear of excellent candidates who get turned away or who give up because it was just too hard.
The DoD keeps a list of what it calls disqualifying conditions that are obstacles to joining. Things like 8 or more teeth with...
So did you have enough time to get an impression now that you think about it? Like, You see, if I was to go to France, I would definitely meet my sister's mom right now, if I was to go.
Visually apparent decay, a history of bariatric surgery, lung condition.
Well, yeah, I am going to be wondering, and I got to know now. Now I got to know. I'm going to have to ask my sister, because she may not even realize that she's autistic, if she is. But if I was to ask... Like, I bet you, like, her daughter Virginie and stuff, I bet you they'd be like, yeah, Mom. Mom, you know what? Uncle Dave might have a point.
And well down the list, there it is without any elaboration, autism spectrum disorders. Nowadays, it's estimated that about 2% of the adult population would qualify for a diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder. Roughly 26% of kids with autism are profoundly impacted, often intellectually disabled. Military service cannot be
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool to have met her, actually.
an option. But for the other 3/4, it's a lot less clear that being disqualified just for being autistic makes sense.
And when Asrand analyst Courtney Weinbaum argued.
Oh, okay, she didn't know. Oh my goodness.
The military
Yeah, that stuff can get touchy, I bet.
has been having difficulty meeting recruitment targets for the different services.
National security problems are some of the hardest problems we have in this country. It makes no sense to not want all brain types working on it.
Torrey Ridgway dreamed of a life in uniform. The son of a Navy aviation engineer, he grew up watching his dad work on planes.
Ooh, Torrey.
Even getting the chance to visit the elite
I
Blue
gotcha.
Angel hangar as a boy.
Little Torrey was just enamored by these aircraft and wanted to fly them. But aside from planes, my dad to me is what it means to be a man. He embodied discipline, he embodied strength, courage, and honor, and the commitment to something greater than myself. Notice that those are the Navy's
That's really
core
cool.
values.
He was just 4 years old when doctors diagnosed him with autism.
Some of the symptoms that led to that diagnosis included me playing alongside kids but not playing with them. Other things included something called echolalia, which is where I repeat certain phrases.
Through intensive therapy, Tori began to make progress.
Oh, I'm sorry. He looks cooler than hell there. Oh, man, he looks
facial
cool.
Expressions, and an
He totally looks cool.
ability for most people.
By many measures, Tori looks like he'd be a model recruit, an Eagle Scout, in
Dang.
junior ROTC, and an honors student. When he was 18, he applied for a Navy ROTC scholarship to attend Embry-Riddle. In exchange for his school
Yeah, I
being
bet it
paid
can get
for,
touchy.
he would serve in the Navy after graduation. He did disclose his autism in his application. And that day that the letter came telling him the scholarship was his,
Your host unit will be Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University.
What do you think about that, boy?
his acceptance, though, was conditional, pending a review of his medical qualifications. Within weeks, a Navy-approved doctor found Tori's autism to be mild and fully controlled.
So it was a shock when a month
It's not like...
later, he received a letter from the Navy saying his ROTC scholarship was now on hold, in part because of his autism.
I more or less
Oh, that's messed
had
up.
my dream taken away from me.
Right.
What's more, the military discouraged him from even appealing the decision.
It didn't feel like I lost funding for college.
Right.
It felt like I had lost a part of myself and who I was.
And the thing
Tori
is
did
like...
appeal, applying for a medical waiver, and while he waited to hear, he received orders to report to boot camp after all, technically New Student Indoctrination, or NSI. Even though other paperwork he received clearly stated he could not attend NSI.
Oh,
if he
my
had a
word.
medical waiver pending. So what did he do?
I'd go.
I still had orders.
Yep.
So I went. Even if only to prove that at least I could make it through that. And I did. In fact, a colonel in the U.S. Marine Corps who was in charge of the program came up to me on the last day, and he said, "You did good, Ridgway."
That colonel even wrote a letter, reviewed by ABC News, recommending Tori for ROTC and commissioned office in the Navy, saying during boot camp that Tori's ability to listen to and comprehend instructions and quickly adapt to new activities was on par with his peers. A Navy spokesperson responding to Tori's case told ABC News Mr. Ridgway reported to NSI while his appeal was pending. Once his appeal was denied on July 8, 2021, Mr. Ridgway was offered the option to depart NSI. However, he requested to continue and complete the training if he wanted to enter another military program. His family denies that they ever received a denial of his appeal and that Tori was offered to depart boot camp. After months of waiting with no assurances he'd be medically cleared or be able to be an engineer in the Navy, Tori decided to withdraw from ROTC.
So much of who I was based around the Navy, about being
That's
just
a bummer.
like my dad. And that was
See,
normal.
I was a hospital corpsman in the Navy. I wasn't diagnosed until I was 51. So I went in when I was 17, actually. And I was a hospital corpsman. I was honorably discharged after 4 years. And I was with the Marine Corps.
Longer possible.
So, yeah, in fact, beyond that, I was the one to get in the Veterans Administration, the very first psychiatrist to deal specifically with autistic veterans. And that just started about 3 months ago. And that took me 2 years to get a psychiatrist specifically for autistic people. And being post-COVID, her name is Dr. Major. She's here in Aurora. I'm in Pueblo, which is about a hour and a half drive away. But so they now, due to COVID, she can see anyone in the world via video. So that's really cool. So I actually got that to go because we know we have veterans in the military, and we know we have veterans that are not only in the, that are veterans that are also autistic. So
The Navy told ABC News they do not address a scholarship recipient's ineligibility and that Tori can still pursue enlistment and a waiver.
So the autism numbers in the military are not currently known because there is no data set for this data.
Weinbaum authored one of the few studies that attempts to assess.
And you're going to be very much discouraged from admitting that you're autistic. I wouldn't, if I was in the military, I would avoid mental health probably. If mental health is anything like it was when I was in the military, yeah, I would totally avoid it because then I wouldn't want that rap on there. Of being an autistic person, because then you're going to get passed on promotions and all kinds of stuff. I wouldn't want that rap.
How the military is handling neurodivergence, including autism. She soon discovered a hidden community.
People started calling me and saying, I've never told anyone my diagnosis before. I feel like I have to hide at work, that I have to hide the symptoms that lead to my diagnosis, but I love serving my country, and if revealing my diagnosis might mean that I get medically discharged, it's not a risk I'm willing to take.
Frankly, it was
And that means that you have autistic people that they said the same thing I just said, basically. And the thing is, that means that you now have a autistic person that's not getting the mental health care that they need. And it's not that they're screwed up, but everybody, everybody hurts sometimes.
But hiding an autism diagnosis can have extreme consequences. It did for Ryan Horsley's son Garrison, who said he wanted to enlist in the Army after high school.
You didn't really feel you could count on the Army to understand what Garrison was about.
That is correct. And, and at the same time, even looking at him, yeah, he seems perfectly normal, intelligent. However, you put a lot of stress and anxiety on him, things will change.
So you really didn't want
Yeah, but he's still perfectly normal. He's just a perfectly normal autistic person. He's going to respond to certain situations differently.
to do this, and you wanted to.
It's exactly that the military is concerned about. They don't want to have somebody who is going to suddenly have a meltdown. But the thing is if they made it through boot camp is literally an extreme stress test. If you can make it through boot camp and your head's level enough that you can do and you can perform everything that you were supposed to perform as a it may be a risk for a medical pension too. I don't know. I could see where it would be. I could see where they would definitely me. I'm not going to get a medical pension, but I've definitely gotten like these glasses and so forth. I've gotten these tinted glasses. I got these glasses. I got earplugs. And the reason I got the earplugs and the tinted glasses was to make sure that I could, because I was trying to set that precedent. At the time, I probably could have afforded it, but I was the first one that I knew of that was dealing with that crap and doing it. I'm sure there were other people, but I was doing it more as an advocate. And now with that psychiatrist that I was talking about, she knows about that you can order earplugs, that you can order tinted glasses and things like that. So it was more an advocacy thing at the time. But however, that being said, and being a veteran, I did deserve them, and I did get them, and I have used the living hell out of them, and I appreciate them. So
give him support.
Yes, but at the same time, I wanted him to understand that he wasn't going to get medically cleared.
To Ryan's surprise, Garrison was cleared and started basic training, but within days, Ryan got a phone call from his son.
He said, I'm starting to freak out, and then that next morning he said he got locked up. His drill sergeants had locked him up. I asked Garrison, I said, how did we get to this point? And he said, the recruiter hid my diagnosis. And I said, are you serious?
Garrison was soon given a medical discharge
from
the
no.
Army. An Army spokesperson told ABC News that the U.S. Army Recruiting Command conducted a thorough investigation on the allegations of recruiter misconduct related.
And we didn't find any misdoing because he didn't put it down. He probably knew about it. He just didn't put it down. So how the hell are they going to know that he did any misconduct? And that's exactly what they're going to say. Watch.
To the enlistment of Mr. Garrison Horsley. The allegations were fully investigated and appropriate action was taken.
Oh.
Mr. Horsley's recruiter no longer serves with the U.S. Army.
Wow! I cannot believe that. They actually nailed the guy. I am so surprised it did not go. I was totally wrong. Look at that. So it can happen sometimes.
It was pretty painful for him. He kind of went into a dark place for a while. You know, he's finally kind of coming out of that.
Still, Garrison told us it was too stressful to sit down with us to
Yeah, I have in my bag. Where's my bag? Oh, my bag's right on the other side of the printer there. But I have the over sunglasses that I will put over my tinted glasses. So they're they almost look like goggles. But they are sunglasses. They're a little bit bigger than these, and they go over everything. I've got night driving glasses, which are yellow, and then some dark gray ones that I wear right over my tinted sunglasses.
tell his story on camera. He gave his dad the okay to tell his story.
What's the point he wants to get across and that you want to get across?
We don't want this to happen with anyone else.
Right.
You know, people with autism are amazing people. Maybe that they have, you know, a place in the military. I think that they're missing out on some amazing people with some amazing talents.
What do you think might have been the outcome if he had not hidden the diagnosis?
I think that he would have been very successful.
We had to do like community
Coming up,
stuff.
what happens when an active duty service member gets an autism diagnosis?
So you might have had the option of not telling anybody about this. Did you consider not telling anybody?
And what is the Department of Defense doing to make the military
And
more
this show's
accessible
ending
to
right
people
here.
with autism?
So this is ABC News, so I sure would like to know what the rest of this story is. This is 15 hours ago, so hopefully I'll be able to catch the other part of this in the future, because that was very interesting. And the thing is they're not going to mention me. Nobody knows about me. I guarantee you. In fact, they probably don't even know about Dr. Major. I would be really surprised if Dr. Major does come up in this series. It is because of me, though. I will say that, because I got arrested over it and everything. I'm not kidding. But don't worry. I got arrested, but then they broke the law. I didn't, so it was all dropped because they were dumb. They were just basically picking on an autistic person, but they didn't realize that I had been a peace officer for 15 years myself, and I knew that they were breaking the law, so I was not nice to them like I was expected to be.
It's love at first bite.
And I think we watched this one already.
So our 3-degree guarantee high tomorrow, 84. Today we made going to our charity this month, Living with Autism. That's $2,300 that we get to hand over to them tomorrow. Now, there's a lot of people that make up the Living with Autism family, and here's a few of them sharing part of their journey in their own words.
I'm glad it wasn't
Hi,
Autism
my name is
Speaks.
Melissa Ripper, and this is my daughter, Abby Ripper. Abby has been attending the day program Living with Autism for about a year now. She started it right after she graduated high school in Apex, and we have been so happy with the whole experience.
LWA opened our first group home in 2010, and the second group home followed in 2018.
Oh, that is so damn creepy. They got a damn bunny there. Oh, hell no. That's too creepy.
As parents of somebody with special needs, we have found that the walk is not always easy.
In 2021, as our group home residents began aging out of the school system, we opened the Living with Autism Day Center in Raleigh.
Really want to focus on their physical, adaptive, and cognitive abilities, and kind of assess where they're at, and then get them going on an individualized program that speaks to those needs and improves their overall gross motor skills, their balance, fine motor skills, overall.
That's because a lot of us have dyspraxia, which is balance issues.
Health and well-being.
We are a fully accredited behavioral health provider.
I want to go there. That looks cooler than shit. That's like Stimmyville right there.
Devoted to serving adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
What are your favorite things about LWA, Jay?
Doing creative learning.
Oh, that's a whole center there. Look at that. They've got the sign Living with Autism. That's interesting.
On my own art and exercise with Mr. Antonio and dog places. Now I have to get on the van.
As Abby is becoming an adult, she has needed to transition into this day program, and they have just become family immediately for us.
Our goal is to provide a loving, meaningful experience to our participants and our families.
She's got a whole group of people that definitely love her
Oh
and
my
want
God.
the best for her.
Like, Abby just loves everybody.
And as parents, we just feel like it's the best situation for her to be in. And
Oh my God! Look at those stairs! Holy hell! Oh my God! That's like yes and no. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I think it's cool, actually. Oh my God!
And we are thankful for those stories. You know, 1 in 36 children are diagnosed with autism, but LWA has done a great job making sure they are successful when they become adults. And just a quick update on Jay. He did make it on the van, guys.
Oh, I love that. What an important program, resource they're providing in the community there. All right, Wes, thanks so much.
Okay, out of all
Everybody
of them,
is freaking out about this, all right?
not bad. Not bad. I'm impressed.
So our 3-degree guarantee high tomorrow, 84. So today we made 81 after forecasting 84, so we're within.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty impressed with those guys. They definitely, yeah, I'm very, very, very impressed. I didn't expect that much out of them. All right, let's take a look at this one. This is a story that I picked up, and I'm just trying to figure out what the heck it is. Very, very short page here. Treatment options for each. This is a really weird page. Why is it just this one, like, 2 sentences? Whether your child or loved one has been diagnosed with mild autism spectrum disorder, a more severe case, wow, the language there is amazing, not good, amazing, or less common variants such as PANS or PANDAS. What? Is this like, this has got to be like a really old site? No, it's 2024. The techno. Download this guideline to hear more broad range treatment options so you can make informed decisions. Oh my goodness. Do I dare? Okay, I'm going to take one click, see. Nope, I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it, not going to do it. I'm going to chicken out on it. Oh my God. Oh boy. Oh damn, that's a cool looking van. And check it out. No puzzle piece, Autism Society. It's got some color in there. That's cool so far.
What I wish people knew about autism, they want the same things we do. They want to be understood. They want to feel loved. They want.
Oh yeah, you know that's the thing is Tyler. With my glasses, once I knew to get headphones, and I've even got headphones that go over in case I need those over my earplugs. But once I discovered that I needed them, now when I go to Walmart, I'll just put my earplugs in and put on some tinted glasses, and I can stay in there and tolerate it a lot longer. Yeah, I can even my pot symptoms aren't as bad. Like I just don't get wore out as quickly.
Want to be accepted. So whatever we need, they need it also. We're all the same people. We just have different ways of expressing our needs.
Autism presents differently in everybody. Acceptance to me means meeting them where they're at in life and offering that support.
I think just patience is like the biggest step you can take towards acceptance.
My grandson was just diagnosed with autism. I didn't know anything about it, so I'm still learning.
My name is Edward, and I was diagnosed with autism when I was born. I learned to overcome and adapt to it.
Autism is not how I define my
not really overcome it, but adapt to it, yeah.
granddaughter. It's just a different way of learning. That makes us unique.
You learn to deal with it. You can't overcome it. I mean, it's not like some kind of disease that you can overcome. It's like overcoming being a human. You can't overcome being a human. You just deal with having to be a human.
And that together we're better.
I love you how you are and who you are. You know, no matter what.
Okay, I don't know who the Autism Society is. I don't know anything about them. I know there are other organizations that are crappy that
Factor provides balance,
but they're not as bad as Autism.
They provide a new menu every week with delicious, nutritious meals.
It's so convenient. It's just delivered right to your door. The meals can be heated in the oven.
And this is Autism Society again. Okay, usually when we're talking about early interventions, usually we're talking about ABA, but it may not be. Yeah, and see, this doesn't say, it didn't say anything about ABA.
I was called a lot of
or
hypochondriac when I was a kid.
anything like that.
And I
so-
used to believe it, and I believed that it was because I was just oversensitive to pains, aches, disturbing social situations, because I was a bit of a wimp. Now I realise it was my body going, no, there's too much sensory input here, back off, back off, back off.
Right.
Having areas where I'm like, I don't want to do this, but there's no physical reason as to why people may think that, so naturally people just assume weakness, when in reality I think strength is a much more subtle concept. Merely the fact that I'm able to get out of bed and have conversation with you and be the charming, witty, engaging person that I am is an effort in itself, and it's a big effort in itself and takes a lot of strength.
I was in a little bit of a bubble, isolated from the world. I didn't know what was wrong with me, why nobody wanted to talk to me. The reason I got diagnosed is because it was originally my brother being a bit of a problem child, not going to school, acting out a bit in lessons. And it was only through an educational psychologist who kind of saw me and then thought, something's not right with her either. But my parents, they did have to...
No, it's perfectly right. And I'm sure they did think, yeah, something's not right. But it's perfectly normal. There's nothing wrong with being autistic. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong.
Push for schools to take me seriously. Because it is typically seen as a boy's disorder. I honestly think that if I were to be an only child and my parents didn't learn to spot autism,
Right.
they wouldn't have
You
ever
would have gone
diagnosed
through.
me, and I'd be in a very different position than I am now.
And you know, with my kids look normal to me. And now I think about it, like, why didn't they look normal to my wife? Well, she wasn't on the spectrum, but like her nieces and nephews, pretty much I think all of them are autistic. I think they're on the spectrum somehow or whatever. My ex-wife was not on the spectrum. She had other things going on. Okay, the way in which people with autism think. See how it's with autism? How it's framed there, with autism? That's it's a disease, you know. That's how they see it. That's why I don't like that term, with autism. I don't get nitpicky or like to tell people what they can and cannot say. The only ones that I will say that cannot say with autism is Autism Speaks, because of the way that they have abused that terminology.
Certain foods I can't eat because the texture is just or not liking loud noise because it feels a little bit like someone's bashing a sledgehammer into my skull.
Gives you a little bit of a struggle to express yourself, makes you come across a bit quirky and shy.
Missed communications. I'm not very good at reading faces. When I am stressed, I focus on one specific thing and cannot let go of it. I obsess and I obsess and I obsess, and I can't do anything about it.
Women.
Now that's one thing too. My wife and I have had this discussion. She was like, "You just can't let shit go," and my ex-wife told me the same thing. And with this wife, after I discovered that I was autistic, one day I was like, "Yeah, you're right. I can't let shit go. I mean, I literally can't, as in I am literally incapable. Like I couldn't let stuff go if I wanted to. I can't let things go. In fact, I do want to let things go, and I am incapable of doing that." And that was a huge epiphany. Now, once that happened, it doesn't mean that I can let go of things easier, but knowing that basically it's a pathological issue in my brain, that I am incapable of letting things go, it makes it a little bit easier for me to at least understanding myself, not hate myself for it. And so in that respect, it's easier, but I still can't let it go necessarily. But I don't hate myself for it, and I know exactly what is happening, and I know why it's happening. So maybe in some respects it might but I haven't seen that it really makes life easier for me or makes accepting things easier. What it makes easier is knowing that my brain is going to perseverate on it and be stupid no matter what, and I can't help it. And so it just is what it is.
And be good at masking their symptoms better. They tend to imitate people around them, something I did a lot.
It's like, like my hair's brown or turning white now. There's not a damn thing I can do about it. Now I can dye it or whatever else, but it's still not going to change the fact that it's going to grow out white. And that's just how it is. And, we could try to treat it. We could do all kinds of crap. Or I could just deal with it. But it's not going to change that the hair is white. But me knowing that I can't change it and that there's nothing I can do about it, that part itself makes it a little bit easier to deal with. So it's not something that I can change to worry about.
They become more withdrawn, more introverted, and they try really hard not to be noticed due to a lot of sort of self-consciousness, and due to the fact that they hide themselves so well, so there's this invisible generation of young women who are struggling because no one's aware that they could have autism.
What you see here, and what the camera will see, is a very specific, polished version of human interaction. There is real thought and effort into smoothing out the rough edges of one's personality dictated by the autism, and how we adjust them so we appear socially normal or socially acceptable.
I sleep a lot because I spend so much time masking my symptoms and trying to present myself as neurotypical. I just have no energy left by the end of the day. Because when it comes to the evenings, or if I'm stressed out, I'll be more sensitive to light, more sensitive to sound. I'll be less able to manage certain social situations.
Okay, when you get tired, it makes everything harder to deal with. Now, my wife is ADHD, and so she's like on the spectrum, but she will push and push and push herself until she basically collapses, which is a total normal type of thing for that type of personality. And one day, she'll kind of schedule herself a day to sleep, which is good because she knows she needs to do that. So it also goes with autism and ADHD, like I'm autistic ADHD. That kind of thing also can happen. Or I can have periods of time where I just want to sleep. The last couple of weeks I've been not sleeping very much at all. But I'm also narcoleptic, which is another thing that's very common.
Having people understand me is still something I'm not quite used to, but I feel like slowly, through finding different means to communicate, the world's finally starting to understand what it's like.
Neurotypical people are trying the hardest they can. It's the fact that they've been given poor information. A certain aspect of autism is something to be treated and cured, when in reality a lot of neurodiverse people now think of it as, this is just how I am. I like meeting people. I like being around people.
I don't know why so many people love quoting Temple there. I am different, not less. I don't know why that's such a huge saying, but okay, I'm good with it.
It's just that I have to also hold it at a kind of arm's length, because if I do it too much, then I feel like I'm burning out.
Having that support network of friends who understand you, that has in turn given me the confidence to speak up if I need help.
To my friends' credit, they've always made those allowances for me, and they've always understood, and I can't thank them enough for that. What I'm interested in is less a violent overthrow of the neurotypical order.
Okay, I just got to say this. This does not have the feel of Autism Speaks at all. This is like, they do have the piano music, but it's like, it's not patronizing. It's like, appropriate, but it's not like epic, like, these people are overcoming such. No, it's just, these are people talking. This is real people being real. I really do like this. This is very well done. I'm very happy with it.
An acceptance of us as individuals, fully formed and complicated and unsubtle and flawed, just like everybody else.
That's very interesting. Okay. I'm gonna. That one did good. I'm happy with it. Yes. That's right. We're getting 10 train cars. That's what we're getting. You darn straight. What is this calming kit? I just like randomly found this calming kit, and I don't know what it is. Such a great resource for preschool kids. It's a calming kit. Let's see if it's for autism. I hope it's not like, speed or something. All the ADHD kids are sleeping like babies in the corner. Okay, that did not happen. I did not say that. Don't do that. You don't do that. Don't give your kids stuff they're not supposed to have. Description. Have you ever noticed that your students are becoming... Oh, this is even worse. Is for your students be more dysregulated than ever? Give them... No, I better not. I better not even... I'm... Moving right along. I'm going to get in trouble if I keep up on this one. And I'm on TikTok, and TikTok doesn't like me anyway. Raising a child with autism. You know what? I'm going to... no, I just think I'm going to just go right along. Let's see. 7:15. So I've been going about an hour now. Okay, so as an associate producer, I spend a lot of time fighting to make my community better and giving the voiceless a voice. Okay, so this is about I right here. Just starting out. Maybe this isn't going to be all about I, but it's about I. So we'll just, in my personal life, as a mother to an autistic child, I also work hard every day to give my speech-delayed son a voice. There's a side to raising a child with autism, that disease, autism, right here. It's that disease, autism, that a lot of people don't see. As we close out Autism Awareness Month, I wanted to share our family story and shine a light on how you can help autistic families like ours, essentially, is what she's saying. Our autistic family. Okay, there's a side to raising a child with autism that a lot of people don't see. As we close out on... Okay, we already went through all that. Wait, is this... There's a little autistic kid now. See how there's the hands? They're touching. That dude is touching the autistic kid. I don't know why they are so obsessed with touching autistic kids.
About 1 in...
So I think this is basically like the written version of this is what we're getting here.
36 kids in the U.S. are diagnosed with autism. Boys are 4 times more likely to be diagnosed than girls. And joining me now to share...
Yes, why are they more likely to be diagnosed? Because of misogyny. Because the medical field has always thought of it as being a boy's problem, so they have ignored girls with autism. And, like my mother and grandmother, they were both diagnosed with schizophrenia because there was not an autism diagnosed for them in the 60s. So there's definitely a lot of issues going on here.
Share what life is like raising a child with autism is one of our own employees, KPRC2's associate producer Faith and her husband Davis and their son Noah. Thanks guys for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
As you know, it's Autism Awareness Month, so we want to talk about what it's like having a child with autism. And Faith, you and I have talked about the diagnosis, how diagnosis goes, because that can be a little bit challenging. And we understand that this is all new for Noah, so this is going to be a tough interview.
Oh, it's all right.
I guarantee it's harder on you guys than it is for anybody watching.
This is the reality that a lot of people don't see a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Is it can be very hard when they're overstimulated, and
That's what's going on. See how he's giggling and stuff? This is an overstimulation issue. They got the lights. Let's see. There's at least one light here. So there's a light up over on this side. I can see it in her eyes here. And there's lights up above. This is a whole studio. There's camera guys around. But see, he's kind of smiling. This is just an overstep. Oh, my goodness. He looks so much like Dad.
And lights and new people. And like I said, I'm sure he's not used to wearing polo shirts every day. They like their playtime clothes. So we are totally understanding that this is going to be a kind of a tough interview for you guys. But we do want to spread the message about like how was it getting diagnosed? You and I talked about the cost that goes into getting a diagnosis. But what was it that first indicated to you that you maybe needed to get him tested?
So it was right before his 3rd birthday. We noticed that he had some issues not communicating as well as other children.
And by the way, that was Dad that was touching him, so that was totally cool. I thought it was like a ABA person or something, but that was Dad.
His age. We also noticed some other things, hand flapping, walking on tiptoes. So those are just indications that a child might have autism. So we actually got a free evaluation from the school district, and they said that he likely had autism. So then we took him to Think Neurology to get officially diagnosed.
Yeah, that's where you get the official.
And I think I think there should be specific autism doctors, and I think they should be based in neurology. They should be neurologists first. You can add a psychiatrist or psychology degrees or courses, whatever, but they need to be neurologists because that is the core of what autism is. I don't care what anybody says. Is all the studies that I've done, everything says neurological disorder. All of the disorders that are related to autism, such as Ehlers-Danlos, the RLS, I have epilepsy, I had childhood epilepsy, I have narcolepsy, all those things, ADHD, all those things are somehow neurologically related. The hearing issues I have, the face blindness,
Even
all
though
those
your
things.
school district can evaluate, you have to get the official diagnosis somewhere else. And then that helped you start ABA therapy, right, Davis?
Exactly.
And was that your goal, to try to get him into a therapy?
Yeah, we had already had the insurance sign off on ABA therapy, but the goal of going to Think Neurology and places like that is to get a brain activity scan and so that they can actually track what's going on and kind of what help he might need.
Yeah. Okay. So that seems to help them a little bit better. How has the ABA therapy been going for you guys?
It's been going well. They work on a lot of behavioral control and
I bet you she's going to sit there and start rubbing his back or something.
emotion expression and
They've helped us a lot too. They'll
Yeah,
come
see, that was
back
Dad.
to our house sometimes and work with us.
Oh, really?
yeah, they
we'll
train
go.
us. Yeah.
They train you.
Yes.
So, because with any kind of parenting, it takes you understanding how to communicate on their
A
level.
pony! Okay, my daughter actually had a pony about that size, except she didn't get a saddle.
What are some of the unique challenges you have when your child has autism?
Well, he doesn't fully
And by the way,
understand.
I understand they say if you've met one person with autism, you've met one person.
Sure,
everybody's different, right?
Exactly, yes.
Well, what are the challenges that you guys have faced?
With Noah, he it's hard to communicate with him. He doesn't understand fully why I'm not allowed to run into the street. Why
Why am I not allowed to
it's
do
time to go home from doing a fun thing. Why is that why?
So a lot of times there's a lack of fear or a lack of understanding of dangerous situations. And when I talk about our mortality rate being extremely high, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about children dying because they ran into the street, because they went into a swimming pool, because they did something or ate something that they weren't supposed to eat, that kind of thing. It can be extremely challenging for, I know one lady, not personally, but whose child constantly eats everything that they should not be eating. I forget there's an actual name for that. And anything that's small enough for that kid to eat is very dangerous for them
Why
to
is it
even
a
have
fun
in
thing
the
all the
house.
time? So, and because we can't really communicate with him, it's just to him it's a mystery and frustrating, and so.
So transitions are hard.
Yeah.
Very
and
hard.
also explaining why something might be dangerous or just socially unacceptable. He's not he's only interested in having fun and doing what he wants to do.
Exactly, yeah. So that's a problem too, because sometimes what he wants to do is not what's allowed, and other parents can sometimes be a little frustrated by that, which is totally understandable. It frustrates me as well. But the main reason why I wanted to do this interview was just to let other parents know to show more patience and understanding with kids who have autism.
Noah, can you see yourself?
Noah, look.
Can you see yourself?
You see?
Look, there's Noah.
There he is.
You're on the
and
screen.
he can get down and walk around if you need to.
You want to?
What would you like to tell parents about in these situations where you say, I mean, like, all parents don't want to be stared at or looked at as if we aren't doing something
He's
right.
gonna go have
But what would you
fun.
like other parents to know for when we see somebody in public who we can
She's
tell
she's gonna be like, wait, she actually did let him go, and like he went. No, I think this lady's pretty cool, but I can't wait to see. There's probably somebody in the background. Hopefully, there's some of the crew that'll be able to keep him distracted.
or has some kind of a neurodiversity. What would you like them to know when they see you?
Yeah, and there's the problem with that because a lot of times you could look at Noah and you can't tell he has autism.
Yeah,
like
that's the truth.
people will say, you know, what's going on? And I'll explain, oh, he has autism. And a lot of the time when you explain that, people will say, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. And,
No, why? Why are you sorry?
you know, if he needs to, you know, be in this area where he's not supposed to be, it's okay. But other times they'll just kind of stare at you, which Davis doesn't care anything about that.
Yeah, see? Somebody's
For me,
distracting
I'm
him.
just
and
kind
look.
of like, oh, I
See,
don't want
this
you
is
guys
cool.
to judge him or judge me, but yeah, I just wanted people to show.
See,
more
and he's stimulating that arm, and that kid's just happy. He's just totally happy. But he's not touching him. He's just touching his arm, whatever. He's not getting in the kid's space. He's not. This is freaking. This guy's cool.
kids like Noah.
He
Papa
understands.
has a lot of
Yep,
patience.
now he's letting go.
We brought Papa today.
We
one of
brought
his
Papa.
favorite people. Hey, Noah, we're about to have to say bye-bye. You want to take a look at yourself? Say bye-bye to the camera.
Can you say bye-bye?
Bye-bye, sweetheart. He's saying it to me. It was so great having you, Noah. And we do have to wrap up, you guys. But just what do you want people to know as we're wrapping up Autism
Just have
Awareness
patience.
Yeah, and if you're a fellow autism parent, there are a lot of resources available to you. Autism Speaks has worked with us, and they're wonderful. And you're not alone. There are lots of us out there. We see you, and we understand what you're going through.
Thank you so much. And I actually think this is really helpful for people to see how we're doing an interview.
Oh, yeah,
I've done these
absolutely.
interviews before that were highly edited, and it doesn't really show the reality of it. So I think we should have you guys in more often. He likes our
Sounds
little
good.
track.
He
Our track
does.
is like a train.
Exactly.
Track.
He's a big choo-choo train boy.
You like choo-choo trains? Yeah.
Yeah, we have hope.
Okay, so that track is for the cameras, and this is probably a big circle here. So this is one part of the studio, and then as you go around the track and you take that camera around the track, you go to each different part of the
start talking
studio.
like any other kid soon
Noah,
with ABA
can you
therapy.
say thank you?
Have you noticed an improvement since he began ABA therapy?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
He is a lot more communicative with certain things. He's still got a ways to go, but
Okay, so when you get into ABA, it always they become dependent, and whatever progress they make is always attributed to ABA. And when they say better, in their definition, better is looking like a neurotypical kid, and you could see that. I wish I had a camera like this, or about 6 of them in my studio. Yeah, see that track right there? And I think this camera, I can't tell if that camera, I don't think that's on the same track. It looks like this one might be on that track, I'm not sure. But see how it goes around there? That's pretty cool,
Since he started
actually.
ABA
That's going to
therapy,
give you a nice,
and with
very
emotional regulation, too.
smooth
He still gets tantrums,
operation.
obviously, but I think that's more just...
He's 5.
Exactly. He's a boy. He's 5. That's just kind of par for the course with any child. So.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's important to have you guys on too, also to explain, the like ABA therapy, it's not always available to people, and it's
And that's a good thing.
a big cost. You have to get a diagnosis in order for insurance to cover it.
Yeah, we're very blessed.
Yeah,
Waiting
so you
times
guys
are long.
Yes. Yeah, waiting. Yes. So thank you for coming on. We should do more segments like this, and really seriously every time because he's the best.
We'll see.
To learn more about autism, you can look for resources on our website, clicktohouston.com/community. I'm sure Faith has her hands in that.
They brought in the
web
puzzle piece at the
department.
last
She's
minute.
An AP. She's all over the place.
They were
Her
going to get a
KPRC
6. Now they're getting a 5.
KPRC2 and our community partners are spotlighting Autism Speaks, which Faith just mentioned. That's an organization dedicated to helping families and of people with autism.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back. Well, now
I don't think so. What else do we have here?
I was called a lot of hypochondriac.
Oh, okay, we saw that one. And I think we saw this one.
An 11.
No, we have not seen that one yet.
An 11-year-old boy with autism was kept in a metal cage at his home in Nevada, leading to the arrest of his parents Missy and Jeffrey Scanlon on charges of child abuse. This distressing situation came to light after local police were alerted by the school district to the boy's frequent absences. When officers arrived, they discovered him in a cage, living in deplorable conditions, surrounded by a lack of basic furniture and cleanliness throughout the home. You know, growing up with autism, I can never imagine my parents doing this to me in a million years. This heartbreaking incident is a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance in our communities. If you suspect
Are you still there,
that
Tyler?
someone may be in a similar situation,
All right,
please
bore ya.
speak up. You could be making a significant difference in someone's life.
Yeah, I wish I want to find out more on that story. I think more is going to come out this week. But yeah, that is absolutely tragic. Kid was basically living in a cage, like probably a larger sized dog kennel is what I'm thinking, a metal dog kennel. Probably one of the bigger ones for like Great Danes or whatever is what I'm guessing. Autism is part of, what is this, Dr. Anaya Mendia, I don't know. It's Indian. And I can't say Indian names very well, but I'm going to definitely try it. Autism is part of the 5 pervasive development disorders characterized by abnormalities of social interaction and communications. I would not call it abnormalities. Differences from neurotypicals or differences from allistics, but not abnormalities. They're actually completely normal. That's factually wrong. It is not abnormalities at all. It's factually wrong. Because we are a normal brain type. Restricted interests, which is our special interests, was what usually we refer to them as. And what is going on Instagram? Why is Instagram not updating? Do I still have internet? I'm going to do an internet check real quick. It looks like it doesn't look like I'm dropped off anywhere. But on Instagram, I'm showing an old page of something that I was showing minutes ago. Very odd. Anyway, autism has a wide range of severity symptoms and often used to classify the ASD. Each of the syndromes under ASD is different from the other. Okay, I'm not going to even entertain this. I'll look at this, but I am not going to entertain this about different types of autism because in the United States, I don't know about the ACD. I think there's an ACD-11. I think the ACD-11 just came out. I'm going to check it real quick. Whoops. -10. Mental health. Okay, yeah. It is an ACD-11. The reason it didn't pop up is because that's what Europe uses. If I would have put the DSM-11 or DSM-5-TR, then it would have popped right up because it's the United States. But that's why I was having a hard time. Yeah, I'm not gonna even entertain what she's writing here. that may have been
My name's Therese.
appropriate for her in her education in India or something else, but it is not appropriate now, and I'm not even going to entertain it at all.
I live with my mum, my dad, my brother, and my sister. And one day I want to be a world famous actress. I also have autism, which means that my brain works a bit differently. I'm going to take you into my world. Imagination. Show you how autism affects kids in all sorts of different ways.
I'm not a logical person, as you may know.
I want to be different, I ask to be different, I am different.
But that however it affects you, it doesn't have to hold you back. So stick with me and find out what it really means to be autistic. The kind of autism I have is called Asperger's syndrome, and sometimes it makes me see things a little bit differently. I get very sensitive, and I can't control it, and sometimes...
Okay, so this was made last year. Now, in the ACD-11, I don't know if it's if Asperger's is in the ACD-11. I know almost nothing about the ACD. Well, I do know nothing about the ACD-11, except it's the new version of the ACD-10, and I just heard about that yesterday. So it must be fairly new. I don't know how new. I'm going to have to do some research on it and find out. I mean, I know it's really new, like this year for sure, like probably the last couple of months or weeks. So, but I will find out if Asperger's is in that, because she may still appropriately have that diagnosis. I'm going to guess that they got rid of the Asperger's syndrome diagnosis, and that they probably went to autism spectrum disorder. So she was probably diagnosed, of course, out of the ACD-10.
It's a bad thing because all the other kids are laughing when I'm just crying, screaming at things that they're not. Every single thing, even things that aren't living, has a personality and a life. If there's two pairs of shoes and I pick one and I feel like the other pair would feel left out or something. I don't like saying certain words because they just make me feel all tense.
I never really have attributed feelings and emotions and stuff like that to objects, although I am a PDA autistic, and so my focus rather than objects tends to be people. So that may be the reason why.
And unhappy. A lot of people with autism have that. Sometimes mixes your senses up a little bit. I can feel words. I used to describe a word as being slimy or prickly because that's what it tasted or felt when I said it or when other people said it. Quite a lot of people, they don't have much understanding about it. They don't mean
that's pretty good. Look at that. That is an old bed. Look at that. I just saw a bed like that recently. Those things are so heavy too.
Be mean, but...
And they make great places to tie off to. Oh, never mind.
It does hurt my feelings because of my sensitivity. So what exactly is autism? People with autism have problems relating to others and making sense of the world around them. Scientists know it affects the way the brain works, but they don't know what causes it.
That's
Boys
true.
are much more likely to be autistic than girls, and it can run in families.
No, that is not correct. Boys are not necessarily, it has been thought that, but this is a hill I'm going to die on. I don't know that it is something that we can definitely say that boys get it more often. We can definitely say for sure that it's diagnosed more often, but we know it was always thought to be a boy's disorder before. And we have a lot of old school doctors that have not gotten a bit of education since 1963.
But they don't know what causes it. Boys are much more likely to be autistic than girls, and it can run in families. Autism isn't rare. 1 in every 100 people is autistic, and it comes in all shapes and sizes.
See, they're saying 1 in 100, and the CDC says 1 in 36. I'm thinking the CDC is probably a lot better, a lot closer to being
I get very stressed in crowds.
I have anxiety issues.
I'm sometimes easily distracted, easily annoyed.
It's a bit difficult for me with the how-to conversation. I need to try to think very hard about it.
If someone does touch me, I say, can you please not do it again?
I sort of feel sometimes like people try to hurt me.
It feels uncomfortable at when people's crowded.
I'm not really normal, but
No,
it's
you
kind
are.
of-
You're absolutely normal. You're a perfectly normal autistic person. And don't ever forget it.
I can't describe it. I'm sorry, I can't really describe it.
Although it can be a problem, I wouldn't swap my autism for anything. It makes me who I am. I just wouldn't be the same without it. For instance, I
You
think
know,
it
it
gives me my
does. It
imagination.
kind of does. But the thing is this is
It
it's
also
last
gives me my
updated on
incredible
the,
skill at remembering hundreds of impressive facts. The inventor of the waffle iron didn't like waffles.
I'm going to go to YouTube real quick. This is going to give me a little bit more information.
Mutual. Liberty, liberty,
Yeah, you're right. It was
liberty.
12 years ago. You're absolutely right.
This $30 bag is taking the travel
was 12
industry
years
by
ago.
storm. It keeps all your valuables safe in one place so that you can...
Interesting.
Like waffles. Spin literally means
Okay, how did you know 12 years ago? Jeez.
spin.
At
Spin literally.
at least 12 years ago. Okay, this is like, okay, Mage. This is like, that's the autism coming
It
out
means
now.
the land
That's
of
pattern
promise.
recognition.
Some people might call my obsession with facts a bit boring. I call it focus, and I'm not the only autistic person who thinks like this. Tony's autism expresses itself with major obsessions. At the moment, it's a role-playing game called Warhammer, with loads of complicated rules. And having clear rules about everything makes Tony feel good.
Remember, I've got the objective so far, because I'm within 3 inches of the building. Most people, when they do a hobby, they normally do it for a period of maybe a year or two. We do it for like nearly a decade.
Or a lifetime. A lot of them would be a lifetime.
Autistic people like to get interested in a hobby, and that is what Tony is like with Warhammer. He absolutely loves it.
It's a strategy board game including
I like the little
plastic miniatures.
Celtic knot there. That was awesome.
They have to build and paint, and then you get to play with them. It's really epically fun.
Yeah, you
Green.
Like you can look stuff up like within like half a second. You're amazing, Mage. I swear.
He's really good at painting. He's really good at building. That's all he likes to do.
I get 4 attacks each on the charge, which is awesome.
Some autistic people like to know everything about a subject, and Tony knows all of the rules about
Yeah, I tried to get him a lot more up to date, but now I'm invested in this one.
Like complicated and hard. Basically, standard infantry moves 6 inches, fast attack, heavy weapons, 12 inches. They can move, but then they can't shoot. But if you stay still,
That reminds me of Axis and Allies. Man, I loved Axis and Allies.
12 inches.
And then like Eve, I played Eve online for a decade.
If he doesn't know all the rules, he can't play. And if he can't play, he gets really angry.
Normally when I'm playing the game, I don't talk, I think, I plan. I'm working, I'm plotting. It's really fun. Well, just if people like organising stuff, I organise stuff because otherwise everything will be out of order and hectic. I colour code all my models to make sure they're not mixed up. I also keep special units separate from the core units. They have to be in the same box, the same place. I just want everything to be organised.
If you drop something and put it back where it could belong, he'll know because he'll just measure it.
What are you doing putting it there? You don't put it there. You put it next. No, you put it.
That's terrible.
Yeah, here.
Tony finds it hard to make friends because he doesn't really know how to say to people, can you be my friend?
22, 23, 24, it's turn 3. Can I borrow 3 dice? The reason I don't have any friends is because my friends are little plastic miniatures and I'm just an anti-personnel magnet. I just feel like models, they can't talk, they can't move, they can't do anything. But they keep me company. I just don't feel lonely with them around. Oh yeah, I'm perfectly normal, everyone else is weird.
Yeah, that's correct. That is absolutely correct. I'm perfectly normal. Everybody else is weird.
So our world's weird, I'm fine.
Like many children with autism, Tony doesn't find it easy to socialise, but his hobby has helped him to make friends.
Well, yeah, because you can find special interest groups. That's why I like cosplay and Renfest and stuff like that. In fact, it's almost Renfest. I got a friend that I've got to get a hold of. She's going to be coming to Colorado. I've got to go see her.
Your child needs these 3 key factors to get into.
I met this lady online last year, right after Renfest. So this year, hopefully, me and my wife can go out and go see her. Maybe my stepdaughter.
An Ivy League or top 25 university. And it's not having a good GPA.
There are lots of different types of autism. Some people like me have a much milder type, but others have a much more severe sort. And one of them is my little brother.
This is only
Lenny.
It's only recorded at 360p for whatever reason.
He
I don't know why.
has classic autism. Even though he's 9 years old, he can't really talk, and we think that he won't have much independence and he'll be looked after all his life. At the moment, Lenny is nesting on the TV. He grabs throws from the sofa, stuffs them down there, and then sits on them eating gogurts, which is yogurts. He likes things in certain places. He puts all the throws behind the TV. He turns the sofas over. He fills the bathroom with bubbles, and he likes it that way.
Oh my
But
word.
we don't, and we don't see why he likes it that way. Hi, Lenny. He feels real
I used to bury my son in bubbles. Literally just bury him in bubbles for fun.
stressed
A lot like that.
if the doors aren't shut. He'd get up and
But then you got to wash everything off. He's probably cold.
out of the bath. You can sense the doors being open.
He's shutting the doors probably because of the
back
draft.
to the
bath now.
A lack of understanding can be a real difficulty because Lenny looks completely normal, and there's only his behaviour really that gives a clue to the fact that he has a disability. And it can often seem like a child's being naughty or throwing a tantrum, when in fact they're just reacting to some kind of stimulus, or they're unhappy and they're unable to express their needs.
Best thing about my little brother is absolutely everything. Look at him. He's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Because it's not always obvious that people have autism. Some people think we're just mad.
You think because of that attention to detail and all that stuff, I bet you're right with code and stuff. Like my son, he was good with code. He taught himself code, like in Blender and stuff like that, with how to do a lot of that stuff, because he understood how the math worked.
Mad or being naughty. This lack of understanding is one of the worst things about being autistic.
My name is Ben. I was bullied at school because people didn't understand the fact that I had autism.
Hey, they're going to bully if they do understand you have autism.
Autism, to me, enlarged.
You just pick on them back.
It's one of your emotions. It makes them a lot more potent. For me, it made my anger a lot bigger. And when I completely lost it, I would sort of lose my vision.
You've kind of got that, like, I don't know, almost like Rod Stewart hair going on.
To hear, but I wouldn't see. I'd be seeing red, you might say. And next thing I knew, I'd be informed by somebody that I had attacked somebody or done sort of damage. I heard of Viking berserkers. I'm twice the trouble of them. People figured I had an anger problem. They continued.
I used to have that happen when I was a kid, go into rages and kind of not know what was going on.
It taunted me, goaded me. Most of them called me a bear. I was feared, I was hated. It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun at all. Imagine going to school every day and not having a single friend. I was very depressed. I didn't enjoy life. I'd realised that it wasn't going to get any better. I was very desperate for any sort of help.
But, you know, a lot of autistic kids tend to gravitate towards autistic kids. So you have the odd kids group. Well, that's probably all the autistic and ADHD kids.
I didn't want to live. I actually did not want to live at that time.
Oh, that's interesting. It said I've never seen that statistic before. That half of autistic kids are bullied. And the culprits for the bullying are the adults, the staff members, and so forth.
Well, when I started high school, I didn't really go to too many lessons. I was too afraid. After a while, I started to get more confidence, and I came down with support from the LSU. The LSU stands for Learning Support Unit, and it has really helped my life. If you are worried or panicked or something bad happens, I can always go straight up there and attack a pillow or something to get my anger out.
That's interesting.
Amongst all the chaos, you find sanctuary in the unit if you're autistic. Just having some support has helped with everything else. It's made me more confident, made me calmer, and now I am able to go down to nearly any lesson given without any support. I've become more sociable.
I wish they would do that in American schools. You know?
I've learnt more about the outside world than just looking out the window. I've got more things to talk about. I can relate to more. I used to think that every time I got near somebody, they would call the cops on me.
Yep.
But I've got friends now.
In the United States, that's a good way to die, particularly if you're a young black kid that's autistic. Or not autistic, for that matter.
An interesting person, in fact, and quite entertaining. He sees things.
I never did lash out violently. It never did anything for me. Now, running or something, doing something physical, yes, but not like destroying shit necessarily.
Differently, so it brings you different points of view that you wouldn't necessarily think of yourself.
I'll probably say funny, quite serious as well sometimes.
I think they think I'm fairly okay. Someone to watch out for, but still fairly okay. Clever, occasionally funny, and a bit mad. But I'm quite happy to be called that. I'm just happy to have friends.
He's got mad scientist hair. He's got hair like Fluffy. What's his name? The dude from Ancient Aliens or whatever. That one guy that is like everything's an alien that he sees, no matter what. He could eat a bowl of cereal and it's space aliens. Yeah, he looks like that dude with that hair.
Friends.
Ben is just one of 500,000 people with autism in the UK, and like him, many of them have a difficult time.
And I think the last I heard was 2 million people or something in the United States, but
Nearly 3 in every 4 children with autism feel unhappy.
it's probably got to be closer to 3 because we got 300 million people, so it's got to be at least 3 million people in the United States.
Happy and anxious about things. It's not
Probably closer to 5 or 6.
because they're autistic. It's because they're not getting the help and support they need. And things don't get much better when you get older. In fact, only 1 in every 6 people with autism end up with a full-time paid job. When I grow up,
That's about 80% in the United States right now
I want to be a famous actress,
that never work.
hairdresser, Dalek, and I don't see why my autism should stop me.
One thing I've learned is that just because I'm autistic doesn't mean I can't succeed. I love drawing, and last year my drawings were published in a book that my mum wrote. I did nearly 20 illustrations, and this one's my favourite. Lots of people wanted to know about the book and my drawings. I even appeared on the One Show to talk about it, which meant sitting next to Robson Green and...
That's one thing I've been pushing people. I've been seeing a lot about autistic artists, and I've been telling them straight up, push the fact that you're autistic. that you have a unique autistic brain and a unique perspective of looking at the world and that kind of thing. Because as an artist, if you can push that autistic thing, that can be your way to make money. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, you might as well make money off of it. And if somebody wants to buy your art and they think it's more uniquer, a fight or whatever because you're artistic and really artistic, then good. Make money on it. You know? There is no reason not to do that. I don't know what Beekman's World is.
Children's fiction. Yeah, and great illustrations.
Yeah, you
brilliant.
got pictures, didn't you?
Thanks.
I've made this film because I wanted to tell the world about how many autistic kids get bullied at school and can have a really tough time getting jobs when they're older. I wanted everyone to see close up what it's like to live with autism. And I hope you've enjoyed meeting Tony, Ben, Lenny and me. Autistic kids can come across as a bit different, but it's well worth getting to know us.
Living with autism can be hard sometimes, but it makes me who I am. Autism makes me different, but it also makes me unique and special.
Okay, we'll do a bunch of training on that one. That wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad. Actually, that's an old one though. That's for sure. What is this?
The land of rabbits. Some people might call my...
Okay, this is that same one. And changes from ICD. Okay, so we're right. Nope. What is this?
But all I can say is that thanks to programs like the C.
So there's another story I picked up. I don't know what this symbol is supposed to mean. The what network? Driving diversity and inclusion in technology. I don't know what that's supposed to. I don't know what. Okay, abstract mind, abstract thing is not helping me right now. What? I don't know. WT? The WIT, that's supposed to be an I. That is not an I. That's not even close. The WIT network. Okay, whatever. Bill Nye, the Science Guy, and Mr. Wizard. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, yeah, okay. Like, I'm just, like, old and know, like, Bill Nye and Mr. Wizard and stuff. Not really. I don't know Mr. Wizard at all. Never saw him in black and white either. The WIT network is continuing our discussion on social impact to equality. We'll be introducing some conversations around neurodiversity. Scroll through this page to learn more and be inspired. Uh-oh, we said inspired. Oh, yeah. That's right. Get some of that inspiration corn. That is maize. Corn. What is neurodiversity? I don't really want to go through basic stuff. Okay, I'm not going to do this because I'm not going to go through basic, like, stuff that I've read a whole bunch of already. I am curious about this.
Thanks to programs like the CEP program, I was able to feel included with an IEP diploma in college. And the more you say in acceptance, the more we feel empowered, the more we feel included in this world. If you do not like people like me speaking my mind, pushing for inclusion, there's the door. Walk on out. That's all I can say. Like it or not, we exist.
Autism Action Day. Okay. Okay, I'm bored on that one, sorry. And it's really hard to hear that, so we're going to move along. If there is better, the medical maze. Decoding misunderstood diseases. Okay, well, autism is not a disease, but I understand that program, framing it that way because they probably talk about medical stuff every day. So, they'll be forgiven. Decoding Misunderstood Diseases. Okay, not a bad intro. A little bit long these days. You got to have shorter intros these days.
Hello, welcome to the Medical Maze. I'm your host, Donnellen Ray, and today we just want to briefly talk about autism awareness. But first, let's say hello to my co-host, Phil.
Hey, everybody. Hey,
Hi, Phil.
Hey.
Hey.
So, as the month of April kind of wraps up, we did want to bring, into light, autism awareness and acceptance, because April is the designated month for that. And we all know, if you are familiar with the show, that my son has severe autism. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it. I think it's a great cause, and the more people that are aware and the / acceptance, which I think there's a slight distinction there, and I think it's worth mentioning, but let's go and let's increase the awareness, and let's give a resource for folks to go to. Phil, what's it been like for you, and how's Dominic doing?
Well, not everything is all roses,
Right.
This part of the year has been difficult for us. Dominic was recently discharged from his school and his ABA services due to his behavior, really. I wouldn't even say that. It's just that they can't really accommodate him for what he really needs. And it's a little disheartening because he was with this school for a number of years.
Wow.
And everything was fine, really. Just his behavior was getting slightly elevated, and he would be a little destructive to property. And
so if he's been there a number of years, according to this fella, then they are obviously they're missing some kind of needs for years now that aren't being supported, because he was functioning there before. He's gotten older and more experienced, so no matter what, ABA or not, he should be doing a little bit better, but he's digressing. So I imagine they're missing something. It's their fault, definitely.
He'll be hitting himself, and the school was just kind of, in a way to protect themselves, say, hey, we have to release Dominic from our care. So right now it's kind of a rat race trying to find schools for him, especially schools that can accommodate for him, because my son is a large kid. He's 11. He's almost 5'10" now. So
damn!
This year he's 200 pounds
at 11.
He's a kid.
Woo!
And he's nonverbal. If you guys didn't know, he's nonverbal. He's self-injures, property destruction.
Wow.
Tantrums.
Wow.
And it's not just a discipline thing. So for those of you watching, it says, "Oh, he just needs more discipline." It's not that.
No. My kids did some property destruction, destroyed our walls and stuff, and I just fixed them. I didn't even say anything to them.
Right. Isn't that why they call it a spectrum? I mean, there's levels on this spectrum, right?
And that's why I really do want to bring this up, because April is the month of autism awareness, and so that's the part where people need to be aware of that autism is
be aware of Harry,
and not just really what you see on TV or what you heard about. Oh, this kid is quirky,
right? Right. Very individual.
Yeah. So I'm in a very, very quiet minority when it comes to autism parents, because we don't like to get judged.
Oh gosh,
right?
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of judgment are you getting for you have a child that's born with a condition? What kind of judgment are you getting?
Oh, so all kinds of judgment.
Me. So if you have your own experience, that's fine. But this is my own experience, and my wife's experience, is that our biggest criticisms come from the autistic community.
Oh wow!
And
that's probably because you're ABA and you're torturing your kid. I'm just going to say that's the road that we're going to go down here.
It's those parents who don't have a child like Dominic, because the autism spectrum is a very, very large spectrum. I think 1 in 36 or 1 in 38 children have ASD.
Wow.
So with Dominic being on the very severe.
Yeah, and see, for me, I can't say anything. I can't say a damn thing about that, because neither one of my kids had that much support needs. they were able to go out and do things on their own and so forth, and live on their own and so forth.
Your side, he's on a very, lower part of the spectrum, so not many kids have what he has.
Howdy,
so the
Jelly.
vast majority of parents who have children with autism, they just see it on what they experience. So,
yeah, right, and that's where their judgment is from what they've experienced. Yeah, that's and not very encompassing, is it?
Yeah, so it keeps us quiet because people who don't know are always going to judge anyway, just because they don't know.
Yeah,
and then it hurts even more when you see people that should be allies with you, don't kind of give you that grace, and that's very, very disheartening. So you feel isolated, and this is where the acceptance part comes in.
Yeah.
Because we want people to accept that every child is different, every person is different. If you see someone that's very low on the spectrum, don't judge, don't stare,
Right.
A lot of parents, we're used to that anyway.
Yeah.
But still, if you happen to see something happen like that, don't just stare or think that the child is being rude, because they're not listening to their parent or anything like that. Early in the season that we had, I told you guys about the story I had with the police, to where I had to go. I was at Publix and my son was acting wild, and I had to pull him aside and say, "Hey, don't kill my son."
Yeah.
Oh gosh, what a thing to have to do as a parent.
Yeah, it's extremely sad
that your mind had to go there. Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, and my child being 10, 11 at the time, that shouldn't even be on our mind.
I know, it really shouldn't.
But it what comes to mind is this, and this is what gives us a fear of being in public, because not everybody knows. They don't know what the heck is happening. They just see a large person attacking another person, and so then their natural instinct would be to call the police.
Yep.
Which is their right to
and
do.
when they show up, now what this guy's talking about, this is serious. Being I imagine this kid's darker complected like his father, and being basically a black kid, he's at a very high risk of being unliked by the cops anyway. Being autistic, he is the highest risk factor for cops just walking up and killing him. And I've seen so many times now, because I've studied this, where a family had an autistic kid for 18 years and not once ever murdered that kid out of 18 years. Cops show up 6 seconds later, they kill the kid. Because the cops can't deal with a kid for 6 seconds. Or 20 seconds. When these people have been dealing with that kid all of their lives. Think about that. And then they will call it justified that those cops could not deal with that kid for 6 seconds, knowing a lot of times that they're autistic.
And so, I do eventually want the police and sheriffs and all those law enforcement agencies to be able to recognize that. And I honestly, Donnell, I don't even think they should even be called. I love the police. I respect everything they do, but this is something that they shouldn't have to handle. They have to train to do so many other things. I don't think,
and they're not trained to handle this.
And mental health and stuff like that. That shouldn't be an avenue they should even be in.
Right.
Right.
They have to deal with.
I've had a few tusks with police.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they have to deal with way, way worse stuff. I don't think they should have to deal with that. I think there should be agencies and people that can come just for that. And
I was just thinking that. Well, can't they have like a psychologist or psychiatrist come to those sorts of calls? I mean, you would think maybe
they do, but there's so very, very little.
Yeah.
People with that knowledge, and people don't know a phone number to call like that. They're just going to call 911.
Sure.
So the first thing they're going to do is call the police, and the police get dispatched.
And they're extremely aggressive. You got to understand that 90% of the police are there for power and control. They are there to victimize people. That's why they became a cop, so they can be the big bad cop. They could have that badge and boss people around. I was a peace officer for 15 years. I know this. Okay, so they're people you do not want to be dealing with in the very first place. 90% of cops are on the wrong side of the fence. They should be in prison themselves. 90%.
There has to be ways where those agencies can connect with each other because, you know, and granted, sometimes the police may need to be called.
Yeah.
Especially if somebody's getting hurt or
sure.
someone's going to hurt themselves. But if the mental health agency
no, sending the cops out there because they're going to hurt themselves is no, because you're not going to make it any better.
Autism agencies can help and assist in that way.
All they're going to do is go shoot them instead.
They at least know how to approach a situation like that to where you know the child doesn't get hurt or the adult doesn't get hurt, so no one gets hurt.
Yeah, see, I can't imagine that kind of fear as a parent. You know, just like you were at the grocery store or something. I mean, can you have to worry about that to go to the grocery store with your, what was he, 12-year-old?
He's 11.
11?
11, yeah. He's 11. And I think he was 10 at the time. It was last year.
Oh, my gosh.
But yeah, and that keeps us, you know, scared to really go anywhere. Go to the park. And plus, he also elopes, so he runs away.
Oh, gosh.
You know, he doesn't really have a sense of danger, so he doesn't know that the street is bad.
Yeah, right.
Even though we tell him these things,
right?
You know, we don't really know what actually registers.
Right.
You know, so it's
or it may register now, and they may totally forget about it, even like a minute after you told them, and that's happened to me. You know, it just it is what it is.
You know.
Yeah, and he's like you said, non-communicative.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
he can't tell, and he can't tell them. He can't tell you or your wife when you're out what's set him off or what's happening with him. And
does she mean nonverbal or non-communicative? Because there's definitely a big difference between nonverbal and non-communicative.
Of course, what the police are called, like you said, they're calling because, you know, we have a man here is throwing a fit, you know, because he's a, you know, bigger child and he's tearing up things, he's, you know, property, whatever. Then it's not, oh, gee, we have an autistic person here who is having a meltdown. Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
They're just going to respond to what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
No, it does not matter if they know that the person's autistic. They're violent. We're going to get control of this situation. So they're going to torture and hurt and assault and kill the autistic kid. Happens all the time. Literally happens all the time. The police in the United States unlife 3 people a day. 3 civilians' lives are taken every single day by the police in the United States of America. The highest propensity of people whose lives are taken by the police per capita are autistic people. Out of those autistic people, it's young black men.
Sure.
And, you know, my son Dominic, he doesn't know how to comply.
Right.
You know, if someone with authority comes at him, he doesn't know he doesn't know what that means.
Mm-mm.
You know, and it's not a discipline thing. For those watching and judging now, it's not a discipline thing.
Right.
No.
Right.
He doesn't understand. And
the thing is even if he did try to comply, he may not comply in the way that they expect him to, so they're still going to assault him. I know. I've seen it happen.
You know, I fear that he will never understand, and that also is a scary thing. Because I do want him to be able to grow up and have a life fulfilled. You know,
sure.
Be able to be independent. But, you know, honestly, he's most likely not going to ever be independent. He's going to be dependent on mom and dad or whoever is going to be able to take care of him for the rest of his life. You know, which is disheartening.
Yeah.
But it's a part of autism, and I do want people who don't know about autism but know about autism to understand that this is also a part of the spectrum.
Right, because I think maybe the majority of people know this.
Yeah, and see, this is where, as an advocate and an autistic person, I cannot speak for any other autistic person. There are some of us that don't have a voice but still can communicate with the I forget what they call them, the communication devices and so forth. There are some of us that cannot communicate at all. Now, for those, I want to do my best, and I think autistic should try to speak on their behalf. Not for, because we just can't. But for those who can't communicate, we can speak on their behalf, and advocate for them in that respect. But what we don't want to do is speak for any other autistic people, and definitely not do what Autism Speaks likes to do, and that is speak instead of autistic people.
In the middle kind of thing, right? The larger percentage of the, what are they, mild to moderate symptoms? I'm not sure. I don't know. But
I feel like there's a green version
yeah.
of autism that's digestible for the media.
Yeah.
And when you hear about someone with autism, you automatically think, oh, they are really smart at something, or they just are different. And when I tell people, oh, he's nonverbal, they're like, oh, what? They don't even associate that with being autistic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and for those parents who have children on that end of the spectrum, you know, the higher functioning, don't judge. Don't put your experiences on those other parents, because your experiences are completely different. Even though our children share autism spectrum disorder, remember, it is a spectrum. So you have to look at it with some empathy and say, our child is not experiencing what your child is experiencing.
Right.
So give us that grace. Definitely give us that grace. And it's
this guy's pretty cool. He's an autism parent, but he's pretty dang cool.
Extremely important to have empathy. I really just my message is to have empathy and acceptance. You know?
Which is perfect for.
I really thought this guy was going to be going down the ABA road and all that stuff, but no, he's been pretty cool.
This month of April, awareness every month, honestly. But if we can put a special focus on it for April, as autism awareness / acceptance, then let's do that and hope that folks, you know, you can go to autismspeaks.org.
Correct.
Oh, no, they just ruined it. I was just like speaking so cool.
It's on the main websites
about them, and now they just dropped the ball. They went from like an 8 down to about like a
Orlando area,
6 right there.
Here.
Oh, good.
And Nathaniel's Hope is a big one.
Okay.
I think it's a national brand.
Okay.
That they deal with kids on the spectrum like that, who are on the lower end. And if you're a parent who...
Oh, not lower end. It's not lower. We're just autistic. That's it. It's not lower end. It's not lower.
A child may be experiencing some things out of the ordinary. Be diligent, honestly, because you're going to hear a lot of no's. You may get some misdiagnosis, you know. Don't just take one diagnosis and then be like, that's it. You know, get another point of view. Make sure you see a developmental doctor, because your pediatrician isn't trained for that.
Right.
Your psychiatrist isn't trained for that.
Yes.
Your neurologist isn't trained for that. Make sure you get a developmental.
Well, it should be the neurologists that are autism doctors. And it's not the case yet, but autism doctors should be neurologists first, then psychiatrists or psychologists or whatever.
Doctor that
and then all kinds of other things too, by the way.
Specializes in autism spectrum. If you're looking for a school, make sure you deal with a school that deals with kids who have autism. You know, you don't want large class sizes, especially if you're dealing with a charter school. There are grants out there that will help you pay for those charter/private schools, so you can get them out of public school. Public school is great for what it is, but kids who need that type of attention, like my son, he would not be able to survive in a public school.
Oh no, I don't think
absolutely no way he would.
That's it's not an environment for him.
So my advice is to definitely be diligent, not give up, do your research, and make sure you find those appropriate physicians that are specifically trained for developmental cases when it comes to children on the spectrum, especially if your child is on the lower end of the spectrum. And don't be in denial. I'm going to talk.
Don't be in denial.
Absolutely.
Let me talk to you know, my brothers and sisters out there, if you know what I mean. We grew up in denial of a lot of things, you know, especially if you grew up in a church, right? I'm not going to be religious or anything like that and saying like that, but just be diligent. If you see symptoms, get help. Don't just pray it away or be in denial. Actually put some action behind it.
Oh, because he was just basically said, yeah, you can try to pray it away, but it ain't going to do diddly crap.
Because the earlier you can intervene,
That's what he
the
was
better
saying.
off your child will be. Don't wait till they're 11 years old just to be like, oh, he's different. Don't be in denial or say he's just different when he's hitting himself in the head or stimming back and forth. They're telling you these things. You just may not, be open to it. So just make sure to listen and try to do the research on your own and try not to listen to so many other people's point of views, because they're not going to know how your child operates. They're going to say, hey, have you tried this? And that's one of the biggest things that gets on my nerves, because you're a parent too,
Right.
when they say, have you tried? Nope, haven't tried that. Thank you. Obviously we've tried pretty much everything.
Sure.
So when you're giving advice, just make sure that your advice is given in empathy and love, and not
right,
and not a, what's the word I'm looking for, and not a lecture.
Yeah.
This is cool. This guy's cool.
Right. Yeah. Early
I
action,
like this
early
guy.
Intervention with kindness.
And he's not autistic.
loving,
He's
and
just
in a
mellow. He's
place
chill.
from heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
this guy's chill.
Again, folks. Oh, and Phil, so if folks want to maybe reach out to you, maybe they just want to connect because of these shared experiences, they can reach you on the website. Go at medicalmaze.com.
Yeah,
Medical
so
Maze.
you guys want to reach out to us, you can go to the medicalmazepodcast.com. There's a contact form,
All right. I'm not gonna sit here and suffer through their through all their wrapping it up and everything, but I am actually going to wrap it up myself. Are you still here, Mage? I'm just wondering. There. Are you still here, Mage? Yeah, I was just wondering. Check this slide out for a little bit. It'll run for about 3 or 4 minutes. Tell me what you think on it. I'll stick around here while we do this slide. So yeah, that's what I was working on. Gonna look into the microwave thing. Yeah, it works. It works really nice. Yeah, so I'm thinking I'm gonna probably start asking for suggestions or whatever, because I think I could definitely build on that, on short little sentences and so forth. And I just turned off all my lights because it's so freaking hot in here right now. I got the window open and gonna cool off. But anyway, I need to go speak with the wife. So I am going to head on out of here. So thank you so much for coming out. And don't forget to look into that petition and sign the petition if you can. I just put a link in the thing, and that is for Autism Speaks to Speak to Me, a petition to do an interview with me. So that's what I'm working on with that. You guys have a great one. I certainly appreciate it. This is David Page. Screw them flap harder.